What? 1.5 million miles?
Hi everyone, I'm Jeff Teague. We're in Wendell, North Carolina. This is AutoJeff Reviews, where we talk about really cool, really interesting, unique, and one-of-a-kind cars, trucks, and SUVs. And then we hear the stories of the people who own and drive them. So Mike, what's your story?
Well, my truck has 1.5 million miles.
Everyone, this is Mike Neal. He owns a 1.5 million mile Tacoma. We got to hear his story. So Mike, first of all, tell me about this vehicle. It's a Toyota Tacoma. What year is it?
It's a 2008. I bought it from you in November of 2007.
That is incredible. And you drive it all over the place, and somehow you've accumulated the world's most amount of miles on a Tacoma access cab, probably, right?
Well, I'm not sure, but it's a lot. I average lately around 500 miles a day. I go down to Wilmington and up to Virginia.
Wow.
It adds up.
That's pretty cool. Let's take a look. I love the blue color, and what's cool to me is that after 1.5 million miles, it still looks really great. The paint looks good. It's gonna have your battle scars and your love taps, we'll call it. So how dependable is Tacoma, and where do you drive it?
Well, it's very dependable. I mean, I get up in the morning, it starts right up, and it takes me to work, and I'm able to go to my stops, and I go to Virginia, I go to Wilmington, just wherever they need me to deliver the nuclear medicines.
That's great. And you deliver nuclear medicines. When we first talked, you deliver medicines that are used in PET scans, and it helps, I guess, the professionals, the doctors, be able to tell if a person's cancer is progressing, unfortunately, if it's staying the same or if it's gone down, right?
That is correct. And it's a very important day for them, and I want to make sure that I'm there on time because I don't want to prolong their discomfort or whatever they're going through, for that day.
That makes total sense. And then your Tacoma, it's been there thick and thin, night and day, snow and rain and dry. What a vehicle. How do you feel about it after all this time?
Well, I love it. In fact, I've been trying, my wife wants me to retire it so she can use it around the house when I go to Lowe's and Home Depot. But every time I start to do it, I just can't do it. I'm so used to it, and it's very, very dependable. Of course, I wouldn't be using it if it wasn't. And I have everything set up that it's easy for putting the medicine in, taking it out.
Sounds to me like you're almost emotionally attached to your truck.
Yeah. I know. I told my wife, and she goes, "It's okay." I said, "It's just a truck." But, I'm 13 and a half years of driving it, and I'd like to keep driving it.
This drive's pretty nice. You did replace the engine at 880,000 miles because it needed a head gasket, and you just replaced the transmission. When was that about?
It was 1.3 million miles, and the torque converter was going out.
Right.
And the guy that put the torque converter in said it would be a good time to do the transmission. Even though it was still running, I thought it was getting a little weak, and if he had to come back and do the transmission, it would cost another $600 because you go through the same procedure. Right. And he was saying it would save you money if you go ahead and replace it now. And I kind of wish I didn't, to see how far it would have gone, but it's 1.3 million miles.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And your second engine, that's gone almost 700,000 miles, hasn't it? Like 650 or so?
I think I've driven it probably 640,000, and they said that it had 100,000 on it when they put it in.
I'd like to take a minute and just tell you some specifics about this one. It's a 2008 access cab, and it has a 2.7 liter 4-cylinder engine. That's going to produce 159 horsepower and 180 foot-pounds of torque. I believe that the 4 cylinders, I think they all have 3,500 pound towing capacity, but it'll hold the weight of the cases that Mike's delivering every day. It gets heavy. Let's walk around the truck right now so you can get a feel for it. Imagine what this looked like brand new at the end of 2007 when Mike made his first purchase. And imagine what you think your vehicle is going to look like when it's halfway between 1 million and 2 million miles. There's something else really cool I got to show you guys. This is also, because it's an access cab, it's a 6-foot bed. Of course, he has the hard top on there. Mike, you might want to replace this real quick.
That's Gorilla Tape is strong.
Gorilla Tape, it's strong. Hey, look at that. This is what we're going to talk about next. So this seems pretty interesting, Mike. You don't normally see, I mean, we see bumper stickers and things like that, right? But we don't normally see a person's mileage listed there. Why in the world are you doing this? This is crazy, right?
Well, I started doing it when I had 600 and something thousand miles, and I had a buddy, and we were talking on the phone. He goes, "Man, you need to put that back, put a display." And I said, "Well, who's going to care?" So I went ahead and did it, and I started at 641,000 miles, and I used to change it every 5,000, and then that got to be too often, so now I change it every 10,000. And I normally have it, there's not any of this, it's going to be like 1,520,000 miles.
Yeah, I noticed you've got 992. The last time I saw it, it had some zeros on it, so that's an unusual number.
Well,
very weird.
For this, it's a one-time thing. I got married on May the 2nd, 1992. So,
Are you kidding me?
So it's part of the numbers until I get to 1,530,000.
That is hilarious. I know sometimes people say, "Hey, watch this date because if you look at it, it's 12121, like January 21st, 2021. It's 12121. This actually means something. So that's why you've been driving it so long, so you could get to your anniversary date, your wedding date.
That's right. And it worked. It's still going. So is the truck.
So it's taken, what, 13 and a half years, you finally got to your wedding date.
Right.
All right. So now here's a little test for you guys. Go and find out when you were married or other significant dates and see if your mileage on your car, just think about this, will it ever line up to anything significant? That is really cool, man.
I'm a blessed man.
He's a blessed man. So Mike, how many races have you done against other people at traffic lights, and how many do you win?
Well, usually I just do people on bicycles.
That's a good idea.
So most of those I win over the long haul.
I like that. I like that. You just stare them down. You're like, you, me, I see you. Let's hit it.
Yeah.
Let's roll.
That's right.
Mike, I got something for you. You deliver the nuclear medicines, and it helps patients and things like that. You always say that people should really love what they do and they should love their job. Tell me about why this is extra special for you doing the business that you do. Because you have a story about this.
Well, when I was 5 years old, I was put into the children's home in Oklahoma City, and I was adopted when I was 10. And the way that I was adopted, 4 years before I was adopted, my family, they were through having children. They had a 9-year-old daughter that died of cancer.
Oh.
And I never met her, and I don't know how you miss somebody you never met, but I miss her. Her name was Susie, and from the first time that I delivered nuclear medicines to the hospital and I saw the patients, my heart went out to them, and I thought of Susie and my family and what they went through while she was dying.
Wow.
And my life changed forever when her life ended, and I wouldn't be where I am right now if she hadn't died. And it's been hard to process, but I want to honor her by doing a great job, and be as kind as I can to the people that are there, and make sure that I'm on time. I mean, there's a lot of people, thousands of guys that do the same thing I do, but I have it's a special meaning because of what my family went through and how I was adopted.
That's really moving. It's pretty remarkable that it means so much to you, because we all have to provide for our families and we all have to do a job, but for you it's more than that.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I know it sounds kind of funny, but I have a small picture on my wall where I get ready every day, and I tell Susie, "Good morning, Susie, I love you." And I put my shoes on and I go to work, and it's not an obsession. It's just I want to honor her, because I know my life changed forever when her life ended, and so it's every day, and I don't want her to be forgotten, even though I've never met her. We have a bond.
That's really cool. I appreciate you sharing that, because I'm sure that's not easy to talk about, but it's special.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that's one of the biggest reasons I love my job.
Hey Mike, some of the viewers had questions. They wanted to know 1.5 million miles. Well, they didn't know it was 1.5 million miles, but what's the interior like? Like, what are the seats like? Let's take a look here. I gotta tell you, I've seen 4, 5, 6-year-old vehicles that are in a lot more hideous shape than this bad boy here. Let's take a look at this. If the people want to see it, Mike, the people are going to see it. You know what's interesting? When you do over 100,000 miles per year, you probably feel like you live in your truck, don't you?
Yes, I do, but it's very, very comfortable. I love the seats. It's comfortable.
That's really cool. They always say, you should plan on road trips. Like, how will the seats be for a road trip? I would think your whole work lifestyle is a continuous road trip.
Yes, it is. And this, for me, has been very comfortable.
I think we got to start this up, right? So this has, let's see here, we've got
That's
999,999 miles. Really cool stuff. Let's get on in there so we can see that. And then we've got trip A,
which is I start it over every time I fill up with gas.
Oh, okay, so you use that for MPG?
Right.
Okay. And then trip B has about 5,148 miles on it.
And that is for the 10,000. When it hits 10,000, it starts 0, and I document the date, and that's how I keep track of the mileage.
Oh, so that makes sense. So you keep track of the mileage that way.
With Tripometer B, yep.
Oh, that's very cool. So a lot of people wanted to know, how do you know you're at so many miles when it won't go past 999,999?
Well, I just said I use Tripometer B, and I know how many miles. Usually it's around 2,500 miles a week, so I know when it's going to trip. And so when it does, and I don't ever put the 10,000 mile increment until it actually does. I don't ever do it early. So that's how I do it.
That's incredible. Yeah, when we did our first video at 1.2 million miles, I know there were a few people who said, oh, that's fake. That can't be true. How can you really know how many miles? You are so meticulous with your record keeping. I've seen your log that you keep for your business miles purposes. It is anybody's business would hope that they're so good at record keeping. You keep it down to the mile.
Well, you have to keep good records for the IRS, and you can't, or I don't fudge. I mean, because you reap what you sow, so I'll make sure it's done correctly and honestly.
That's perfect. And you have 1,520,000 miles on it.
Right. Well, you had the 4,000 whatever.
Oh, that's right. We haven't added
but
in the
I want to leave that.
5148
I'm
yet.
not. When it goes to the 30,000, then I'm gonna change that to the 30,000. But it has the whatever that said.
5148. I
Yeah.
think. Tell me about the people who know about your first video, and like for example your dentist story. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I went to the dentist, And I don't remember how it got started, but I was telling the lady, I drive a lot of miles. It might have been the number of miles she drives to work. And then I said, she goes, "Oh, how many?" I said, "Well, I've got over 1 million miles." And she looked at me like I'm not telling the truth. And there was a tech sitting next to her. And I said, "Y'all know that they did a video on it, 1.2 million mile Tacoma." And the guy goes, "I know." He goes, "I've seen that." And I watched it. He goes, "I watched it with my friend." And then he proceeded to bring it up on the screen while I'm in the chair. And I said, no, you don't have to do that. I was there. And he played the whole thing while I was there getting some cavities fixed.
So he actually recognized the video in your truck.
Yes, he did. And before he played, he goes, "It's blue, right?" And I said, "Yeah, it's blue."
It's blue.
And he goes, "Yeah, I've seen that."
You ever have any stories about people along the road who have noticed you, or, sorry about the bumps there, who notice you or maybe have seen the sign on the back of your truck?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. People, I go on I-40 a lot going to Wilmington, and they'll, I'm going like 75, 76, and they'll just buzz past me, and then all at once they start slowing down. And I can see in my mirror what they're taking a picture, and then after they've done it, then they speed right up back on by, and then some of them, they will honk and do a thumbs up. Sometimes it scares me because I'm in my own little world, and it makes me jump, which they think it's funny. But they'll put a big thumbs up, and so that's nice. And when I go on to O'Reilly, the guy goes, "Hey, this guy's famous." He only, that's when they find out. Before then, they don't know that I am. But it's a guy named Jacob. But he's real nice. He always lets people know. I forget, it reminds me too.
Your first video has I think it has 1.2 million miles, and somebody said, "Wow, that's really cool. He needs to keep the miles right at the number of views." So the views on my video about you actually match the number of miles at one time. That's kind of cool.
They got there faster than I did.
Mike, I got a question. I don't even know if you know this, but you do advertising for Toyota on the back of your vehicle every day, and it's not just having a bumper sticker that's saying Toyota Proud or something like that. What do you think the messages that you're giving other people when they see your truck down the road? Because I think it's a powerful message, and I don't even know if you realize just the benefit that you're giving to Toyota.
Well, the biggest reason that I put that back there was because of how reliable I thought it was, because I think I told you before, when I was in the office, when I first got it, when I was buying it, and the guy was telling me how much it would be, per month, and I'm thinking, I'm going to be paying for this thing, and it's not even going to be running. And I could just hear him in the background. I remember it like it was yesterday. I thought, oh my gosh, it's not going to be running. Well, guess what? I mean, all those years later, all those miles later, it's still running. And I wanted people to know the reliability of the truck that I have. And that's, I had people, when I get in gas sometimes, there's been like 4 or 5 people that asked me, was that really the mileage? And I said, yes. And there's 3 of them that said, well, I know what I'm going to get. And it was going to be a Toyota. But I just want them to see it, what's still on the road after 13 and a half years or whatever it was back then, because it's been reliable to me.
So, Mike, what kind of MPG do you see on a regular basis? Do you ever check that?
Oh, I check it every day. My logbook.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I fill up, I have the number of gallons, how much it costs per gallon. And right now, I'm getting 37 miles. No, just kidding. It's 22 and a half to 23 and a half miles a gallon.
That is really good, actually. You know what's really cool? Speaking of noticeable, I noticed something because I was so curious, because Toyota Tacoma has the highest resale value of any vehicle in the entire United States, and it has for several years now, which is really cool, right? According to KBB.com. So what did I do before I got here? kbb.com, and I looked up, imagine this, putting this in, guys. You've got a 2008 Toyota Tacoma, put in the zip code for Raleigh, and it luckily had enough places for 7 digits, but I put in 1520000, and it said, guess what it said next? What color is it? When you get 1.5 million miles, does it matter what color it is? So I put in blue. And then it says, what condition? I put fair, you know, because I figured it's got some love scrapes and things like that, and it's 1.5 million miles. It says your vehicle, if you traded it into a dealership, between $7,000 and $9,000, it would still be worth.
Well, let's go, man. Take me to your leader.
That's not an offer. I'm not saying, hey, come on, I'll give you.
Oh,
but if you sold
not
a
an
private
offer.
party sale, it'd be closer to $9,000 or $10,000 for that.
Wow.
How much do you still owe on your car loan after 13 and a half years and 1 million? I'm just kidding. I know it's paid off, but yeah, can you believe that? It's worth between $7,000 and $10,000 depending on whether you sell it privately or not. What'd you pay, like middle 20s for this thing?
It was 22, 21 or 20, but they had to add the 2. Well, my trade-in was add 2,000, so it was like 23 for the whole thing.
So basically, it's probably still worth between 30 and 50% of its original value. Probably not quite 50, but you know what I mean. Between 30 and let's say 40 to 45% of its original value. That's what Tacoma does. I mean, people want these things. They're hard to get now with the vehicle and chip shortage. They're hard to get new, and used are selling for more than new in a lot of communities. I was shocked when I saw these numbers.
I'm shocked that you told me that. So I'm going to keep this baby.
Yeah. Maybe it'll keep going up, guys, and then it'll be worth. We're gonna try to make it worth its original value of like $20-some thousand.
Yeah, and then we had to find a person that would actually pay that.
Yeah, a museum.
Yeah.
Or Toyota. And guys, I represent Toyota. I'm a huge fan. I'm probably their biggest fanboy. I love the reliability, dependability, and long-term trustworthiness. We can say, Toyota. Mike would never say this. He's too humble and too kind, and he just wouldn't say it. Come on, Toyota. This gentleman, one of the kindest, most humble people out there in the world. Toyota, I would love it if you saw it in your heart, in your big corporation heart, to gift him a new vehicle. I know Mike would never say that, but I think it's the right thing to do. I know you get a lot of requests from people who say, oh, you should hear how many people say this every day. I got 700,000 miles on my truck. I want a new one. Or my Camry has 500,000 miles. You should give me a new one. This gentleman, without even asking for anything in return, has been advertising what your name and brand stands for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of miles without asking for anything in return. So please, Toyota, you can contact me at AutoJeff Reviews at gmail.com or ToyotaJeff1@gmail.com. Let's see if we can work something out, because I think it would be the right thing to do, and it just makes sense. Thanks for listening. You know what we should really do, Mike, is we should just stop and see some strangers and say, hey, you don't know me, but I have 1.5 million miles. I like the idea. It's got to get by the big guy first, though. I don't think we get a sign off on that one, though. But you're kind of a humble man. I know you pretty well, and I feel like that's probably not an idea that you would go for. I don't think you like to show off exactly what you have.
No.
Yeah. What else do you drive?
I drive, we have a 2018 Highlander.
Nice.
Then I have a 2006 Toyota RAV4, all-wheel drive, 6-cylinder. It really gets up and goes, and it does really well in the snow, which we haven't had in a while, which is okay. The first year I got it, we did have some snow, and it did great. And then since then, we haven't had a lot of snow.
So I guess you call yourself a Toyota family then.
Yeah.
It's like Joker's Wild. Joker, 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 Toyota, Toyota, Toyota.
And I got my daughter a 2006 Toyota Corolla, and it's been great.
You know what my impression is? Yes, I know it has 1.5 million miles on it, and you're going to hear some noises and things that you maybe didn't hear back in 2008 when you first started driving it, but this is really smooth. I mean, it has a little bit of engine noise that's kind of synonymous with a 2.7 liter 4-cylinder engine. I mean, you do hear the engine noise as you accelerate, but it's really smooth.
Well, it drives great, and that's why it's hard for me to give up, you know, driving every day.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about replacing it over the years?
No.
You sound surprised that I would ask that.
What kind of question is that?
Please don't slap me. Why would you ask that?
Yeah. That caught me off guard.
Like, I love that. That's like raw emotion there. It's like, no. How dare you?
No, I mean, I have, I'm the only one still there. Now, we've had a lot of drivers that still is driving the same vehicle. They came, you know, when I got the job. I got this as soon as I got the job.
Yeah. I'm a member of some Tacoma forums on Facebook, Toyota Tacoma Enthusiast and Tacoma World. And a lot of times people say, hey, shout out your high mileage. Let's see the high mileage trucks around here. And sometimes I'll mention, I know the 1.2 million mile guy. And they're like, oh yeah, I saw his video. And like, I've been hearing things. Whatever happened to him? And so I guess maybe now I'll post it in those forums so that they can see what's actually been going on.
Yeah, I mean, and people will, you know, they'll make remarks and ask from the first video.
Yeah.
Hey, does anybody know how many miles it is? And I'll answer them, and they'll be happy that it's still on the road. Now, I always tell people that that's the miles that I've driven in this truck.
Yeah.
I'll never tell them it's, you know, one engine, because I always want to be truthful. But it's been driven. I mean, you know, the rear differential, that's original. It's still going. There's a lot of probably parts that are still on it that I haven't replaced yet, but I'm not going to tell because I get killed.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is, okay, so let's say you got an engine replaced at 880, and then your next one has gone, I believe, almost 650,000 miles that you got from a salvage Tacoma. How many other manufacturers are hoping that their vehicle might go 880,000 miles before they have to replace it, or before something goes bad, serious? And then how many people, their replacement engine has over 600,000 miles on it, and they're like, how do you do that, Toyota? How do you do that, Tacoma?
That's right, and that's what I like about mine. I mean, God blessed me with this truck. I mean, some of the stuff that I have done fixing this, I could just see God and Jesus up there. They're shaking their head. Look what he's done now. And God looks at Jesus, and Jesus says, don't blame me, you made him.
And that's crazy. Mike, I see you brought these along. Toyota Today magazine goes out nationwide, monthly. Look at this. From February of 2019, just getting started. Hey, there's me, there's Mike. Look at that. The mileage hasn't changed, not in the odometer at least. But anyway, Mike, you had an offer for people. It's kind of fun.
I was elated to be in this magazine because that's was on my bucket list, being a centerfold in a car magazine, and it happened. And Jeff made sure that I got 30, and we're going to offer 5. That's right, 5 of these signed by Jeff and by me to the first 5 subscribers that email Jeff, and he's going to give you the email address.
Yeah, no problem at all. You can either send that to AutoJeffReviews@gmail.com, or you can do it to ToyotaJeff1@gmail, and I'll make sure we sign them and get them out to you. It's just kind of a fun thing to do. Not everybody's going to want to have the article, but I think it's kind of neat. So we'll pop it in a little brown envelope here, and it could hit your door soon. Everyone, thanks so much. Thanks for following my new channel, AutoJeff Reviews. We tell cool stories about people who drive amazing vehicles and things like that. So please hit subscribe if you haven't already. You're going to like the stories we've got coming up. Next story, an Aston Martin. That's going to be exciting. So thanks everyone so much. We really appreciate it. Hit like if you liked the video. And again, leave a kind comment for Mike and just show your support. Give a shout out, ask questions, whatever you want. Mike may end up responding. You might get a message from Mike. Or me. But thanks everyone so much, and I guess
I want to thank everybody for watching the video, and like Jeff said, if you leave a kind remark, that would be nice, and see you later.
All right. See you soon, guys. Peace out.